Welcome to a reading vlog. I don't think I've ever done one of these where I like just film myself reading over the course of like multiple days, but I thought it could be fun. I'm feeling kind of weird today. I think it's just because I'm tired. I've just had a really hectic week and I think I might have pushed myself a little bit too far. So I decided to take like most of my morning off from work, and then this afternoon I will tackle all of my many duties. But there's a specific book that I really want to start reading. I am technically already reading like 2 books simultaneously, but I got this one yesterday and it's actually a collection of poems, which I thought this was prose, like I thought it was just a novel, but it's a bunch of poems. And it's called Sorry I Haven't Texted You Back by Alicia Cook. It was this month's staff pick. So the bookstore I go to, they have a dedicated shelf where every month they choose a staff member to create like a little graphic explaining like why they chose each of these books, and there's a shelf with the books that they've recommended. And this was one of them. This was recommended by Curtis, and it's a collection of poems that discusses anxiety and depression. Curtis said this is for anyone who feels like they never managed to be fully seen and understood and who have struggled with their mental health. So I recently have been trying to put more focus on my mental health, even though like I have been over these past 4 years ever since I started dealing with anxiety, but I do feel like I don't know, maybe stepped back from it a little bit. Anyways, I just really want to jump into it, and I thought we could read some of it together. And then I think I'm gonna do this like a week-long thing. Today is Thursday, August 15th, so happy Acadian Day to anyone who is watching who's also Acadian. I'm gonna jump into this. I'm gonna bring over my annotating supplies because I do feel like I'm gonna have a lot to annotate in this. Every time I eat cheese with grapes, I feel like Remy from Ratatouille. My old bookmarks. I have some tabs here that I'll use, and then I'll just use a pen. And I don't know if I want to use this highlighter because it can bleed through. The pages feel relatively thick though. I think I'll use a Pilot. That's the ice machine, by the way. So I'm gonna use a Pilot friction highlighter, and then a Muji, I don't know what's the name of the model of these ones, but just like they're gel pens, and this is in 0.5. You can't see that. And honestly, I'm just gonna get right into it. I don't know how long I'm gonna read. Maybe I'll aim for an hour, maybe less. We will see. I must be extra emotional or something because I just read this first part and I already have tears in my eyes. Okay. I didn't realize this when I picked up the book yesterday and looked through it, but every single poem, they're all named like track 1, track 2, track 3, because this is literally like a cassette, right? Every single poem has a song at the bottom, and it says like currently listening to Different Kind of Tears by Sully Erna. So every time that Alicia wrote a poem, she included the song that she'd been listening to while writing the poem, or I'm assuming like at that point in time. And as someone who's very attached to like music having meanings and associating music to certain things, this is honestly, it's pure perfection. I love that so much. Whoa. Good evening. We are still the same day. It is still Thursday, August 15th, although it is now dinner time, and we are switching over to some mystery thriller. I read for about an hour earlier with the poetry collection, which is absolutely amazing, by the way. And now for dinner, I'm going to be reading Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I like to switch up the books that I'm reading throughout the day depending on the time of day, so that way it lets me read a few more books and get through my never-ending TBR a little quicker. So we're gonna read this. I will change the location. I'm gonna read this while I have some dinner, and I do need to finish up. I do also have to finish editing a video that needs to go up tomorrow, so my July reading wrap up. So I might not read for as long as I typically would, but it'll be fine. Let's read from Freida McFadden. I think that just confirmed it. So it's meant to be obvious? He's obsessed. Oh gosh, this is creepy. This feels like gaslighting. Good morning! We are back in the same spot, but it is the next day. Today is Friday, August 16th. It's 7:33 a.m. I woke up about like half an hour ago or so. I've got my breakfast and I'm gonna read a little bit, probably for like half an hour or so, because I need to get ready to go and pick up my niece to spend a day, auntie and niece. So I'm currently on page 94 of Never Lie by Freida McFadden. It is starting to give me the creeps. I'm going to be completely honest. And for context, I do tend to get scared easily. So I think that's why I stayed away from the mystery thriller, especially the horror genre, for so long. Because when I was in high school, if ever I read a book that was horror or spooky, or if I watched something that was spooky, I would have nightmares. So I've been kind of wary of it, but I feel like I take it better now. So that might change, but at least I don't live alone, you know, like I have someone with me who can comfort me if I wake up screaming in the middle of the night, which I doubt will happen. So I'll try to not ponder over that. Anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping now and we're just gonna jump right back into this. That is suspicious as heck. He is so gaslighting her. Good morning. Here to just do a little quick check-in update before we get back to the usual reading vlog group. So far this week, I'm pretty sure that, oh my god! So sorry, my cat literally got so scared by a pencil and he jumped like 3 feet in the air. Bowie, are you okay? That's just a pencil, baby. Are you okay? Oh my god. Anyways, I apologize that it's so dark. It's currently like 6:30 in the morning and it's really gloomy out, so there's not a lot of natural lighting. But anyways, so far this week, I finished reading Never Lie by Freida McFadden. That was fantastic. I'm still reading Sorry I Haven't Texted You Back by Alicia. I kind of just read a few pages of it every night since it is a collection of poems. And I just started my next read, which I'm actually hosting a giveaway for this over on Fable. So this is The Enchanted Lives of Céleste Artois by Graudin. I am absolutely devouring this, okay? It's set in Paris in the 1900s. It follows these 3 girls. The main character is Céleste Artois, and they call themselves the Enchantresses, and basically they are castaways, I guess you could call them. They live in a cemetery in Paris, and they're basically con women. So they trick these really rich men into giving them their money, basically, and that's how they've been living so far. But Céleste is realizing that she's about to die. Like, she starts coughing up blood in her handkerchief, and I haven't reached that point quite yet where she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I am eating it up. It's so good. The writing is very, like, how could I call it? The prose is beautiful. I love it. I love it. And like I said, I'm hosting a giveaway on Fable. I don't know when I'm going to be posting this, but today is August 20th and the giveaway runs until August 27th. I'm going to jump into my book, have my breakfast, and then start getting ready. So let me know what you're currently reading. I'm going to jump into this. Good morning, Raindrops. Today is day I don't know what of this reading vlog. Please excuse my lack of organization for this. It was completely unplanned. But anyways, we're gonna go over the books that I have finished and started over the past few days for this vlog and just sort of give you my thoughts on them to wrap this whole thing up. So I started off the vlog by reading Sorry I Haven't Texted You Back by Alicia. I did not finish reading this. I'm like, I think I'm halfway through. A little under halfway through, I believe, because I'm taking my time with this one. I decided to make it like a bedside table book, so I read a few poems every night. It is a really amazing collection of poems, and as someone who has struggled with anxiety, and I still do, definitely less than I used to 4 years ago, but I still do, this understood me so well. And to think that words on a page from a complete stranger managed to describe so many of the hardships I've gone through is absolutely insane. So if you struggle with any mental health issues, whether that be anxiety, depression, or maybe even grief or loss or any of those, I would really recommend this, and I'm having a really great time taking my time with it. A friend of mine actually recommended that I try out listening to the audiobook whenever I'm reading a collection of poetry, which I think I'm definitely gonna do either for like the last half, or maybe I'm just gonna read this entire thing and then reread it by listening to the audio. I'm not sure yet, but I do know that this is definitely gonna be one of my top reads of the year. Simultaneously, I was also reading Never Lie by Freida McFadden when we started this reading vlog. I am still new to the world of mystery thrillers, but Freida was definitely the first author that introduced me to psychological thrillers, and I am now obsessed. And this is definitely my favorite of hers that I've read so far, although do keep in mind that I've only read 3 of them. So there's not a lot to choose from, but this book was insane. I did not see the plot twists coming, which is what I'm always looking for. Obviously, it's a mystery thriller. That's kind of the point. But basically, the POV in this book goes from like present point of view of Trisha, who is the FMC, and past point of view of Dr. Hale, who was a psychiatrist living in this massive house, and then she went missing, and so Trisha and her husband Ethan go and visit the house because they're interested in buying it, but then they get snowed in, and Trisha starts finding all of these little secrets of Dr. Hale's past and what might have led to her disappearance and what she was hiding in her house, and that maybe someone is actually still hiding in the house right now. And I was so convinced that I knew who EJ was the entire time, but like the first hint that we got for it, I'm not going to say too much about it, but the first hint that we got, I was just looking at it and I thought, she can't possibly be referring to the person I'm thinking of, because that would make it so obvious, and that would make the book kind of boring because it's predictable. So the entire time I was still convinced that I knew who it was, but I had that sort of nagging voice at the back of my head saying, you are so wrong, you're gonna be hit with a massive plot twist, and I was. So that was really fun. After that, I jumped into The Enchanted Lies of Céleste Artois, which I am obviously not done with. This book is massive. It's like close to 600 something pages, but I am 85 pages in so far, and I'm actually moderating a book club on Fable right now, and we're hosting a giveaway, and Ryan, the author, is in the book club with us. So by the time I post this, I do think the giveaway is still going to be open. I know that I mentioned this at some point in the video that I thought it might not be, but I'm aiming for this to go up on August 23rd, and the giveaway closes on August 27th. So I'm gonna do my best to get this out in time. If you're interested in a book that feels just like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and sort of magical elements like fantasy circuses that you would read in fiction, so I'm assuming like The Night Circus is one of them that this book is being pitched as like a similar vibe to it. I haven't read it, so I can't speak to it, but I would also say like Revel. That's one that I read that was very like circusy. It's set in Paris in the 1900s, and Céleste and 2 of her friends are enchantresses, so basically they're con women. So the way their cons work is that Céleste, who's a really talented painter, is going to paint a copy of a very well-known piece, and then she'll like go to a restaurant and eat as much as she wants, and she'll say, oh no, I forgot my money, I can give you this painting or something like that. And then a successful man, her Mark, is going to cover the bill for her. She's gonna leave the painting with him, rush back to find her other 2 con women friends, and then another con woman is gonna go out in like disguise and be like, they're gonna compliment the painting that that man is holding on to for Céleste, and then she's gonna say, oh, I would pay a huge sum of money. And then when Céleste comes back and they realize like, oh my god, I have a timely painting in my hands, they're gonna buy it off of her so they can resell it, thinking that it's an original, but it's not. So that's sort of like how the cons start. You advance a little bit into the story, you meet Raph, who is a handsome stranger who starts getting a little closer to Céleste, And then Céleste starts coughing up blood in her handkerchief, so her time is limited. And then Raph introduces her to magic. So that's where I am so far in the book. I'm having a grand time. Okay, like seriously, I'm having so much fun with this. I was definitely like slightly intimidated by the size of this because I haven't read a long book in a really long time, and I feel like I've just been consuming shorter books a little bit better. But first off, I've been in touch with Ryan since like, I want to say May, maybe April, because she wanted to specifically send me an arc of her book, and then I got it a few months ago. And if you watched my TBR video for August, you will know this was on my TBR for August. And then I was reached out by the publisher to moderate this book club on Fable, which I do also work there. So, you know, things just worked perfectly. So I'm very excited about it, really having a grand time reading it, but I'm also so happy that I get to moderate the book club. So if you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so, because I would love to have you join the club. First off, that would be so fun, but also I do think that Ryan will help us have a really fun time, so I will leave a link in the description. But that is what I'm currently reading. And then yesterday I didn't get this on film because I just started reading it in bed, and it's a graphic novel, so I really plowed through it, but this is my favorite graphic novel of all time. It's amazing. This is Your Letter by Hyeon. It's so beautiful. Not only the art style is stunning, but the story is completely heart-wrenching. So the main character, Sori Lee, is a middle school student. At the school she was going to at the beginning, one of her friends was being bullied, and so Sori speaks up against the bully, and then the bully starts bullying her. So the two girls end up going to new schools. They transfer. And when Sori gets to her new school, you know, she's hesitant, she's trying to protect herself, but then she finds a letter hidden under her desk that sets her off onto this sort of scavenger hunt to find all of the other letters. So not only does she get to discover more areas of the school as she, you know, finds every letter, but she's also going to meet a new person. So she'll meet this boy who was friends with the boy who wrote the letters. And so everything is connected. It's so beautiful, the friendship that these three eventually develop, and the heartbreaking elements of Sori's past that is interwoven with the past of another character. Oh my god, the ending, absolutely stunning. And I was bawling my eyes out last night in bed, and I wasn't expecting it from a book that looked this pretty. It was wrapped in plastic, so I was expecting those heavier topics of like grief and illness, but it was so good. It was so good. And I'm being so for real when I tell you that it's some of the most beautiful art I've ever seen in like a graphic novel. Just the tone of the color palette that the artist chose to go with is it's very much more on the cooler blue side of things, but it's just stunning. I don't think I'm ever gonna get over it. I think I might actually have to get a tattoo for it. So that is what I read last night. So technically over the course of our reading vlog, I finished these two and then I started these two. So I've been having a really wonderful time reading these books. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm excited to see like the second half of this collection of poetry, because there is like a part 1 and part 2. So I'm very much eager to get to that. So that wraps up my very first long-term reading vlog. I had a really fun time doing this actually. If you've made it up to this point, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for staying and supporting, and thank you for being my reading buddy, because it was really nice to have the company, even if it was technically just a camera. I knew where it was gonna go eventually. So thank you regardless. And if you'd like to join the Little Raindrops family, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. It does really help and make a difference in my life, and I love to have you here. You know where to find the button. But thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.